Welcome to Monmouth in Focus, a program about the services and functions of Monmouth County government. I'm Commissioner Director Tom Arnone, and I am happy and excited today to have my fellow commissioner here and good friend Ross Osicho, also liaison of the park system. Ross, how you doing?
Thank you, Commissioner. Glad to be here.
Great to have you. Great to have you. So, you get the fortunate task of overseeing probably one of the best departments in the county and something that only people go to that are happy. And they go to our park system.
It's so true. The parks really bring such pleasure to everybody, And by far, the Monmouth County Park System is the crown jewel of Monmouth County and also the best park system in the state of New Jersey, second to none.
So, everybody thinks the parks, playgrounds, trails, different little events, but give us a little bit of a broader span of what we have to offer here. Besides golf.
Yeah, besides golf, of course. And of course, as we know, we have 6 beautiful golf courses, which are really renowned across the state. And we have people who come from all over the state to try to get on our golf courses. And it's really, really a wonderful thing. But we also have over 18,000 acres of passive and active recreation in all of our county parks throughout Monmouth County. And there's so many wonderful programs that are put on throughout the year. In fact, our program guide just came out for the summer.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and the program guide will guide you through, it's a guide, so that's what it'll do. It'll guide you through all the incredible things that we offer through the park systems throughout, especially the warmer months. That's are really the great times. Not, the winter months, of course, we have great programs too, but the summer is really when we blossom.
So, and of course, comes with that comes a lot of events.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There, and I know in the course of the year. Then, of course, probably one of the biggest things that occur is our in July is what? The county fair.
Our county fair.
But talk about all the work that has to go on with that.
Yeah, the planning for the county fair started months and months ago. It starts right at the beginning of the year with, of course, gathering all the vendors and get everybody squared away and all the events that goes on and all the schools that participate and all the 4-H clubs and everything else. And it's really a great event for the county. It's one that I've always looked forward to going through my whole life. I've taken my children to the county fair every single year, and I got to tell you, the Parks does an amazing job of putting it on.
It really does, and it's a good revenue generator for the park system too, and it all hinges on it not raining there,
which
because
happens a lot.
Happens a lot. Seems like if you're going on vacation, don't pick that week because
go to the fair.
Go to the fair.
Go to the fair.
But you know what? It's easy for you, myself, and the rest of the commissioners to praise our great park system. But at the end of the day, probably you need that other recognition. And I know there's been period of times where we've been nationally recognized. Is that true?
We have been.
And can you maybe give a little information on that?
Yeah, the park system, again, has been nationally recognized for its excellence in not only acquiring land and growing such a beautiful passive park system, but also in all the programs that we offer. They really have. I mean, during the school year, we offer so many curriculum for young kids to come in, to work their minds and be able to develop and do it in an atmosphere that is conducive to a park. And I really have to applaud our senior staff at the park system. Now under the direction of Andrew Spears. He's the new director, as you know. The county commissioners recently appointed him, and him and his staff do a fabulous job. They really do, and it's nonstop. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize our recreation commissioners.
That's right.
We have a board of recreation commissioners that are appointed by the county commissioners, and it's a volunteer role. It's not a paid position, and it is a lot of work. Every 2 weeks, we meet at Thompson Park at our headquarters, and we have very comprehensive and long meetings. And sometimes we're there till 11 o'clock at night. There's so much to discuss. The parks is a $40 million budget. And the recreation.
It's a big company.
It's a big company, exactly. And the recreation commissioners, they're ultimately oversee that, of course, with the oversight of us, the county commissioners, but they really, really do a fantastic job, and I really have to applaud them.
And that's what I think has been so special about the relationship and the way it was structured between the county commissioners, then freeholders, then appointing people that they thought would be obviously proactive and very positive on our great park system, and then continuing to build on it and take it even more. That's what was really, really special, and I think that's what has shown the success. But you, myself, the administration at the park system, the administration of the county can only go so far without the great staff that we have.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that we have to touch a little bit on, and if anything, just a big thank you to them. But maybe give a little insight on the amount of work and the amount of geographic areas of parks that they have to maintain and keep to the quality that people expect the Monmouth County Park System to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge company, just like you said earlier. You know, you have administration, you have all the things that go with administration. You have IT and purchasing and requisitions and all that. But then there's our park rangers, you know, the people who, like you said, maintain our trails. You know, they repair buildings. You know, they provide
That's right.
safety for our park visitors who come. They're your first source. The first people that you see when you come into our county parks are our park rangers. They're law enforcement officers. In fact, you and I just did the graduation for them, where they graduated, and I got to tell you, you know, they're so proud of what they do, and it makes us feel good as commissioners to be able to give them the tools that they need. You know, one of the things I wanted to point out too, which of course, as you know, being the director of the commissioner board, is one of the things that we're really implementing in the county park system this year is state-of-the-art security. With the help of our great sheriff, Sean Golden. You know, the parks are being outfitted with all kinds of security cameras, plate readers, and all sorts of things, you know, because unfortunately, you know, there will be people, an element of people that will come out, you know, and target our parks, you know, as an easy target, you know, break into cars and steal merchandise and so forth and so on. So it's important for our park visitors to know when they go to the parks to make sure they lock their vehicles and make sure they hide valuables and all that sort of stuff, because you never know. Because like you said, they're there for a good time. They don't want to come back to their car
And have that whole day ruined.
Exactly right, and have something taken from them.
So, you know, to close out on a few little items there, the one thing that we know, we have the great golf courses.
Yeah,
we're very proud of. They're immaculate. They're probably
The best.
county courses in the country.
By far.
And then, of course, our great parks. We're always building parks. We're always talking about that. But we are also very, very in tuned and considerate, and we'll always remember the historic part of our county. And in the park system, we have some historical sites in our
We
county
do.
park.
Portland Place being one of them is an incredible place. Wallingford out in Upper Freehold is one of my personal favorites. And of course, who doesn't love Longstreet Farm? I mean, it's just, it's a jewel. I can never go there enough and not get enough of it. Yeah.
So we're fortunate because we're just coming off the backs of, we opened up a new park here in the county that we are very proud of here, along with the Parks Commissioners, and that was just recently. We opened up a Swimming River Park, and I ultimately I was there in the beginning, or when it came about, and it was a challenge.
Sure,
it was a challenge, but you, the board, the administration, along with the county's support, were able to overcome some of those challenges. And then we were able to open this park up, which is stunning. And it's going to be one of our signature parks down there, where we have the kayaks and we have the launching, and we're going to be expanding with a boathouse and all that. But there was a lot of work to get that done, right? I mean,
it really truly was. You know, in comparison to our other parks, it's very small.
Right.
But I got to tell you, as you know, I've gotten more calls than I know you have about that park.
Very visible.
Very visible. People love it in that area, right out, you know, right over the Red Bank Bridge to Senator Joe Carrillo's bridge.
Yes.
You know, right over into Middletown, and you know, it's the one park that we have that has immediate river access, and you know, be able to kayak and boat out of there, and it really offers so much amenities to our county residents to be able to go there. And like you said, we just completed phase 1, and phase 2 is coming up, which is going to be a beautiful, beautiful boathouse, kayak rentals for those of you who don't own kayaks, like myself. I don't, you know, and be able to still enjoy all that we have to offer.
Well, that was great. And, you know, I will tell you, I think when you came on the board, you struck gold, because you got the park system there. And, and it's always the jewel to have as one of your committees. And I know you have various committees throughout the county, but I have to believe that's probably one of your favorites. I could see how it wouldn't be. But I also want to say thank you for the time and dedication, because as you just said, not every volunteer board, not every liaison board basically pulls that much time out of a schedule to be able to operate, and it does that because of how large it is.
Sure.
And you put that time in there, and on behalf of the rest of the commission, I want to thank you for that.
Sure, of course.
And
It's my
and
honor.
know that we're just going to keep growing.
We
We're
are.
We're going to hope that it doesn't rain on our fair.
No,
Ed.
it doesn't. And just want to pay special recognition to Mr. Jim Trunzer, who
Yes.
recently passed away. As those of you who all know, Mr. Trunzer was the patriarch of the parks. And
We wouldn't be where we were at.
Exactly. He was our first director, started in 1964. I was 1 year old when Jim took over the county park system and recently just passed away while still the secretary director of the county park system. He had such vision.
It's great.
He really did.
Well, I agree, and I was able to work with Jim for many years, and I was marveled by his vision
That was.
and his creativity. And he started that in 1964, and he built it to where we are today.
Sure.
And we owe everything in the park system to Jim Trunzer. So,
Yes, sir.
well, I want to thank you, Commissioner Lasitra.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And this was great. Looking forward to
Wonderful.
talking about some of your other committees. And that's all for this segment in Monmouth in Focus. Please
Thank you for having me.
join us again.